Here's a hack, guys and gals. You're going to just say, thank you so much for this all because you just made me a ton of money. People love that. You mean you want me to collaborate to a Forbes piece with you? This is going to be like a huge win for them. I can tell you if you're part of that 2%, I know you're listening, I know you're watching, you're going to be the one that gets the next deal over the person that didn't.
Everybody watching and listening, right? Prove us wrong.
I was flattered, but I'm like, shit, man, we must be doing something right.
Our guest today is Saul Marquez, a prominent figure in healthcare digital marketing, serving as the founder and CEO of Outcomes Rocket, a global digital marketing agency that helps health technology companies that struggle to get customers who don't have enough customers to scale their business as quickly as they'd like. With over 20 years of experience in sales and marketing within the healthcare sector, Saul's journey began in sales and leadership roles at major players like Stryker, NuVasive, and Medtronic. Recognizing significant gaps that companies were faced with in strategy, digital marketing, and commercialization during his career, Saul established Outcomes Rocket, to address these challenges head on. The consultancy focuses on helping healthcare brands and businesses scale and thrive in the digital age. Additionally, he hosts the Outcomes Rocket podcast, a daily show featuring over 1,700 interviews and boasting, get this, a 4.8 star rating. The podcast attracts a diverse range of guests, from health tech entrepreneurs to hospital CEOs, offering valuable insights into the ever-evolving landscape of healthcare. Saul Marquez, my newfound friend, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here. And thanks for having me. Great to be with all your listeners and viewers.
It is totally our pleasure. We're going to have a blast. We had a blast talking off air. I know it's going to even be exactly. Let's just jump in. So where I want to start, and I think you do too, is we'll start with some fundamentals, right? And the fundamentals in this context are the three fundamental pillars of media that everybody listening should know this. And it's owned, earned, and paid. And I'll do a quick little, in case you forgot. Owned are the assets you own, the properties you own, like SEO, site, social posts, podcast, blog, etc. Earned, opportunities on media, conferences, podcast, guesting, things like that. And then paid, which accelerates acquisition through paid, just like the name implies. You're paying for those media placements. Okay. Well, I want to hone in on today with you is the power of earned media for agency owners just like you and those are listeners, and how they can really capitalize in on the earned media space so they can accelerate trust and credibility, speed up the sales cycle, lower cost of acquisition, and on and on and on. So let's jump right in. Earned media for agency owners. Take it away. What can they do?
Yeah. First of all, Steve, awesomely laid out. Love how you just gave us the focus. The structure is owned, earned, paid. If anybody tries to complicate it, they're trying to sell you something. So I love how simple you kept it, characteristic of, what you do and what the company does at Stand Ventures. So love that. Look, for me, we'll definitely want to talk about earned. And it all started when I was about to make the phone call. My heart was beating super fast. My palms were super sweaty. And I was about to take my jump into entrepreneurship. The night before, I was talking to my wife. We had a conversation about this. It had been 17 years sort of doing the corporate gig, climbing up the ladder, and it was time. Like many of you listening, I was tired of my ideas sort of getting shelved. Like many of you listening, I was tired of the red tape and not moving fast enough. And it was time. It was time to take that jump. She grabbed my hand and she said, "Babe, let's do this. Let's make this happen." I made the call and I did it. And I think everybody listening and watching to this, you're an entrepreneur. You have an agency. You're crushing it. And it doesn't happen without taking that risk. And that risk, the way that you make it happen successfully is when other people believe in you. It starts with yourself, with your wife. And then when you get into the market, it's about third-party testimonials, whether it be testimonials on Google or stories talking about you. What we're talking about here is earned media. And that is other people telling stories about you that will help you be successful. Those stories speak to you and your reputation. One of my favorite quotes is from Bill Gates. He said, if I was down to my last dollar, I would spend that dollar on public relations. That's earned media. And there's a reason for that.
I love that. I had not heard that quote before. And I think it's, you tell me, but I think there's still the predominant thinking of, well, paid is the most direct line to a sale, right? So if I have that last dollar, public paid to me is more of a sure thing, quote unquote, even though to me it's not, even though to you it's not. But speak to people who are skeptical about what you just said.
I love that. No, I appreciate that. And, one of the things you mentioned is, accelerating trust and credibility with your customers and prospects. If you're able to, through the media, through podcasts, have other people talk about you in a way that really highlights the success you've achieved for your customers, the way you serve your community. And let's just say you just got an RFP and you're filling out the RFP and you're putting in all the details just like everybody else is. And then they go do their due diligence. The client goes and does their due diligence. They get to your website and they see that you've been featured on Fast Company, Success, that you've been featured on local papers. All of a sudden, you go from you telling your story to extended trust and credibility because the media is talking about you. I got to tell you, there's research that's been done even for venture capital fundraisers that shows that at an early stage, when you're looking at either a seed or a Series A, when you're looking for proof, many of these VCs base their decision off media that they find about you because there's not enough info on revenue. You're not publicly traded. So if you're not publicly traded, what else is there? There's earned media. You get some stuff out there in a simple way. You're going to accelerate trust, which eventually will speed up your sales cycle in a really powerful way.
Yeah. And it's so important to denote, they're going to look at your site, of course, and see content on your site. But it's so important to have content outside of your site.
Totally agree with you. And so with that, think about all of your channels, right? When you're getting earned, and by the way, we'll offer some tips on how to get earned media because sometimes it could be kind of foreign, right? If you're like doing digital marketing, if you're doing SEO, how do I get earned? Like, I just do I call a PR company or how do I do it myself? We'll cover that. But I love that you went here, Steve. Once you get that coverage, it's about putting a megaphone on it in an omni-channel way. So your website is one thing, but you also want to promote it on social media. You want to promote it on your signature. If you have like a really high profile mention somewhere, you got shared. We just got featured in Success, right? Super proud of that. We're creating little templates for our email signatures to put on there so our customers, prospects know. Let's not forget our proposals. When you share your proposal, throw some logos on there. If you've gotten coverage, man, that stuff goes so far. And to be honest, most people don't do it. Like you'll be in the 5% of agencies that is currently doing this. So this is if you're looking for an advantage in a sea of sameness, this is one thing that you could do in an omni-channel way, to Steve's point, to really get a leg up.
I'm curious your thoughts on you've mentioned Fast Company and that site and Forbes and I believe a couple others like Entrepreneur, meaning when I say other, I mean of the first, tier one kind of things. Over the past couple of years, they've started their own kind of paid media section, right? You're familiar with that?
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Like Forbes, for example.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that versus organic?
Yeah, look, I think it's better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. For example, Forbes is the main one, right? They've got the Forbes Council.
Yep.
I think it's worthwhile. I think it's a good way to get your feet wet. It's essentially a membership that, depending on kind of the level you come in at, you pay either $2,500 or $5,000 for the year.
Yep.
And then they give you contributor rights and thought leadership. It's great because then you're a contributor under the Forbes logo. And the key there is not just to do one and done. The key there, much like SEO or anything else that you're doing in marketing, is consistency. So put together, if you're going to do it, 5K is not a ton of money, right? But the thing is, don't just do it and feel good about yourself with one article. The way that you really gain traction through these paid opportunities like Forbes Council is you create a plan. And I would tell you, you do at least 4 articles for the year. If possible, like dig in and do 12 for the year, but get yourself on a track. What are you the expert at? What are you great at? Here's the hack. We were going to talk about, ways people could walk away from this interview with, wow, I could do this now and it's going to help me. Here's a hack, guys and gals. You're gonna just say thank you so much for this all because you just made me a ton of money. 2 things. Just like with the podcast has 2 sides of the funnel. You got the guest side of the funnel and you got the listener side of the funnel. The short-term ROI is on the guest side of the funnel. Steve and I are chatting. Hey, I'm looking at using their services now. So the listener side of the funnel is a longer term. In the same way, if you're leveraging a platform such as Forbes Council, don't just be the sole writer. Reach out to prospective customers and ask them to collaborate with you on an article, on a thought leadership piece that aligns with your plan, which, by the way, you could align with your SEO strategy and your keywords, but then you put together a plan. I would tell you start with 4 at least, and then you reach out to prospective customers and you say, hey, look, I see your work. I see what you've been doing. I'd like to put together a proposal to collaborate. I'm a member of Forbes Council, and I'd like to do this piece with you. People love that. You mean you want me to collaborate to a Forbes piece with you? This is going to be like a huge win for them because, by the way, for them, it's earned. Like you paid for the membership, but you're giving them an earned opportunity, which has monetary value. And you do that over the term of once a quarter. I mean, ideally, you get the hang of this. You're doing it once a month. That's 12 new prospects that you've added value to. That 5K that you spent, you're going to make massive dollars on top of, by the way, the content that you have out there now as a contributor to Forbes. So huge value you could get there.
It's a great example to use it as a lead gen, right?
Amen.
In its purest form. This is a lead gen, but it's a very unusual or different kind of lead gen in that you're going to say, offer to somebody to be in a Forbes article. And like you just said, it's so spot on. So that's earned for them. They are going to jump through hoops to be part of this.
You paid for the ticket to the box, and now you're inviting them to the game.
Exactly. Free of charge.
Free of charge. You're owning it, and each additional article doesn't cost you extra. It just has to meet editorial guidelines. It has to add value. You can't be super salesy, but you're doing it.
Exactly. I want to expand on something else you said about, and it's so obvious, but so many people overlook this when you said something about, I'm paraphrasing, if you do these articles in Forbes, and even now that I think about it, even your own stuff on your own website, I think there is a massive dearth of companies not repurposing and reusing their own content. And especially if you make an investment into a Forbes Council and you write an article, well, it just doesn't blast off into the ether. I mean, you got to milk the you-know-what out of it, right? And promote it and repurpose it and share clips from it and drive people back to it and on and on and on. I just get the feeling, and I know so many people, just content in general. I'm kind of going down a content rabbit hole, but I'd love your thoughts on this, that a company writes a white paper, for example, on their website. Okay, what do you do with it? I go, there's 5 blog posts right there. That's how I look at it.
Totally. Yeah, 100%. So thinking about this in a way that helps you put a megaphone on it is really what earned media is all about. Here's another tip, really kind of following your lead on this one, Steve. So you have a paper that you came up with. You have data that potentially you got from a survey, and now you want to share it with the world. One of the best things you could do is put together a pitch. I'm going to give you guys the guidelines for a pitch. The guidelines for a pitch are make sure that it is less than 500 words. Make sure that the subject line is clear. Make sure that it is a unique point of view. Okay. Make sure that the angle you're coming at it with is unique and relevant, and make sure that it's timely. Those are the tips. Okay. And what you do is you use the data from your report and you craft this pitch. I would tell you, don't spam a bunch of journalists. The way you have success with this is pick a list of top 5. And Steve called out tier 1. When we started talking about this, there's tier 1 outlets like the Forbes, the Fastco, the Inks, think about the smaller ones too, because the likelihood of you getting published on those right away is not very solid, at least right away. And press begets press. So what I would do is find those niche sites that have a high domain authority, right? Like so you could, get some nice backlinks along the way. You could be, hey, 50 plus domain authority, and they happen to be reaching my ideal client. Mm-hmm. Then you say, hey, look, I've got this exclusive article that's based off of this data. I'm willing to share it with you guys for an exclusive publish. You could do it as a byline coming from you guys, and you're interviewing our leader about it, or it could be something where we're the contributor and it's what they call an op-ed. So you give them an option. The op-ed is opposite to the editorial page. So basically you would be a contributor on their platform with it. Mm-hmm. And so there's two ways that you give them, and make sure that when you follow up with them, because many times they're not going to reply to you right away. When you follow up with them, make sure you let them know that, hey, look, I'm just following up with you. If you're able to, please let me know by Friday if you're willing to take this piece. If not, no problem. I'm going to go ahead and pitch it to another outlet. And I look forward to working with you in the future. I'll just say this. I know you have a comment real quick, just to finish this piece up. Mm-hmm. People, these journalists and editors, they're driven by editorial deadlines, and they're weekly often. So when you speak to them in this way and you give them a weekly timeline and you say, hey, look, if you don't like it, I'll move on, but I look forward to meeting with you, that triggers a response from them. Either, yes, you know what, this is on point, let's do it, or no, next time, or no response. But that gives you permission to move to the next one on your list to get it posted.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. We're going to get back to our show in one quick second, but stay with me. If you're in the need for anything SEO and or link building related, you need to do yourself one quick favor. You need to go to the website that's on the screen right now, stanventures.com. Go there, tell them Steve-O sent you. The rest will take care of itself. Trust me, you can thank me later. All right, let's pivot here. I want to talk about some trends in healthcare marketing. There's a couple that I flagged, but I definitely want to, whatever else that you want to add, because this is your expertise. The first one is about local SEO. And I'm just going to read something that I read, which I thought was really interesting, verbatim, and get your thoughts on it. So local SEO is a marketing trend in healthcare that has shifted substantially over the last 3 years. Are you seeing that? You agree? What are your thoughts on that statement?
Yeah, and I would tell you that the short answer is, for us in healthcare, it's consistent. However, with a lot of the changes that have happened recently with the integration of Gen AI into search, it's definitely pushing people more toward leveraging that if they have locations that they want people to go to. So we're definitely seeing a good amount of increase in people asking for that kind of work, because, with Gen AI at the top, it's certainly changing the way that SEO is being done. What are you guys seeing on your side?
It's the same, in terms of, it's just getting more localized. I mean, not to coin a phrase, but with Gen AI, you're right. I mean, it's changing everything everywhere, but I don't think that's a marketing trend just in healthcare. The local SEO. I think it's across the board.
Interesting.
The more localized content. Now, of course, the next breath is, what about national, quote unquote, SEO? Well, of course there is, right? If it's a national brand, but even a national brand is going to be interested in local SEO.
Yeah. I mean, you want to have that tight as part of your overall SEO plan, for sure. I agree. I think what's interesting on the healthcare side, so there's two parts to it. I won't spend too much time on it, but on the one hand, you have the local shops, the physician practices marketing to patients, right? Those are definitely super important local SEO. On the other hand, the technology companies, they serve nationally. So hospitals are national, insurance companies are national, and they're more focused at national level, ranking for keywords and things like that. But nevertheless, if you're wanting to get your SEO tight and make sure you get first page, your local is a big part of it.
Absolutely. And always will be. So the other trend I wanted to bring up, and then if you want to add any that you're seeing, and this one is definitely across the board, not just germane to healthcare, but video. And video marketing. I'm really curious to hear how video is permeating and being used within healthcare marketing.
It's big. 10 video stats for 2024. 82.5% So in 2024, video accounts for 82.5% of internet traffic. 91% of consumers want to see videos from brands they follow. Video marketers get 66% more qualified leads per year. 92% of marketers say they receive a good ROI from video. 81% of marketers confirm that video has helped them directly increase sales. I could keep going on and on, but the point is, it's a must. And whether you're using YouTube Shorts or you're taking clips from your podcast to promote on social media, video is so much more engaging than any other medium. Whether you're just, even with your paid efforts too, like, you're definitely wanting to play with your videos versus the stills. Right now, what we're seeing is still graphics are performing strong on a cold layer, but then in the warm layers of retargeting, we're actually getting much, much higher response and conversion using video. You've got to use video. If you're not using it, you're really, you're behind the curve.
Do you think there's a misconception, what have you? And I'll use B2B as an example. For the longest time, B2B marketers were like, we don't need to do video because we're B2B, which blew my mind because I would say you're still talking to a human being, right? Healthcare. Have you seen an uptick in video over the past 3, 5, 7 years?
Big time. So one of the big things that we do as an agency, we're full service, but we do a lot of production. We produce podcasts. We do webinars. So what we've seen is like all of the new podcasts we're bringing on each month, they're all video. It used to be all audio. Every single podcast. I can't even tell you there's an exception because all of them, and we bring on probably 6 to 7 new podcasts a month. They're all video. And the reason is that they're more engaging. It's something that people want and desire. When you're looking at your analytics, whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook or TikTok or Instagram, your videos are performing better. And if they're not, I'm surprised. There must be like a really shocking picture and it's an anomaly.
No, you're right though. I mean, we're laughing, but just by default, it's a visual world.
And so what I would tell folks is don't so like, you listen to these and you want to take away some stuff for yourself to, like grow your business. And what I would tell you all is perfection is the lowest standard. So like, don't be afraid if you are at a conference and you're inspired by a speaker or the lineup, do like a 30-second video and say, wow, like pop up your video and say, man, I am here at the AI conference in healthcare. I am moved by this speaker that just talked about improving patient lives by increasing the number of hours that physicians get to spend at home with their kids. They're actually having dinner with their kids now because Gen AI is writing the notes for them. This is the future, guys. If you agree with me, let me know your thoughts. And literally, like, write a quick post and send it. Like that raw, real stuff actually sometimes does better than the super clean stuff. But you just got to do it.
Could not agree more. And I'm a huge believer in just that man on the street, very raw, just whip your phone out and hit record. And don't worry about production value. Don't worry about how you look. Just get it done and get it out.
And you know what? Like by the way, you could do that, be spontaneous, but also do it in a planned way. Like you guys have content tracks that you're working on probably right now, just like we are. And you pick one of the tracks that you're working on. We do what we call the 7 promotes. And when we create content, it's under one of the seven promotes. And that is what do you do? Like, so what is it that we do, right? We're a full service marketing agency. We dive into those things. It's why do you do it? It's who do you do it for? It's your value proposition. What is your key value proposition? That's another one. Your people, tell us about your people. That the people pillar is super huge. And so, you want to make sure you highlight them. Why join your team? Like as an agency, you're as strong as your team. So like, why is it cool to be part of your agency. And, those videos are awesome. Actually, like when I've done videos with our team, like videos and pictures with our team, they get some of the highest reactions. Mm-hmm. And then when we're about to go recruit, people want to be, man, it's crazy. Dude, I just hired a SVP of sales, right? Mm-hmm. Some of these candidates, man, that were just like lining up for the gig. I was flattered, but I'm like, shit, man, we must be doing something right. Right? Like, so be intentional. Like we have these 7 tracks. And by the way, so that I mentioned 6 promotes. The 7 promote is actually an internal one. It's teach your team the 6 promotes. And for that, literally, dude, like I will record a video and send it in our Slack. And I'll say, guys, I'll just kind of give them a thought. We just promoted somebody to do more on our team, and I'm super proud of them. Keep up the work, guys. And remember our 6 promotes. And I walk through them, right? And say, make sure you're doing them too with our clients and with our external audiences, because people see it, they hear it, they feel it, and it's the 7 promotes. And so if you kind of outline those, I could write them out for you, Steve, and send them to you, put them in the show notes. That if you don't have a framework, that framework will always serve you, because back to what we said at the beginning of this, 50% of all businesses fail within 5 years, and 97% of businesses fail after 10. And the number one reason they fail is because of lack of product demand. The 7 promotes helps you put your business out in front consistently. And on the video topic, if you're doing it, man, you're just crushing it.
I am such a, and I'd be shocked if you don't agree with this, Saul. I'm such a keep it simple guy, right? And don't overthink and overcomplicate things. And what you just said was it's so simplistic, right?
It's so simple.
My kids, of course, would say I'm simple-minded, but that's another story. But I am, like, just in life, just keep things simple. If, the shortest distance is a straight line, I'm taking a straight line, No,
wow. 100%. I'm in your camp on that one.
I am looking at the time, dude. It flew by. I absolutely want to do a part 2, and I'd be honored to come on your show.
Well, yeah. Hey, everybody listening, Steve's going to be a guest on my show. I'm so excited to have him drop major value. So make sure you tune into that one.
Tell everybody where to find your show, what the name of it is. Give them all that.
Yeah. So go to any podcast platform, type in the word outcomes, and the first thing that's going to pop up is Outcomes Rocket. That's where you find it. Outcomes Rocket.
I love it. So simple. Saul Marquez, thank you so much, my friend. I had such a blast. We're going to do part 2 here. I'm going to come on your show, and we're going to rock and roll. Thank you, my friend.
We're going to party, man. This has been a ton of fun, Steve. Thanks for having me. And thanks, everyone. Appreciate your time.
Hey, I'm the guy from the video you just saw. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Now do yourself a favor. If you haven't already, subscribe to our content. Believe it or not, unconfirmed rumors and reports, you will see it increase in 20% in organic traffic just by subscribing. Okay, maybe not, but it's fun, right? But do yourself a favor, really. Subscribe to our content. You won't be sorry. Thanks.